Hello everyone, my name is Janet Smart, and I'm here today to read you Chapter 1 of my book, Duck and Cover. It is a middle grade book for ages 8 to 12 and adults also. It takes place during the Cuban Missile Crisis in the fall of 1962. There, on the back it reads, after his dad dies in an accident, 12-year-old Teddy Haynes and his mom come back to live in rural West Virginia. They hope to start over, but some people say the Russians are going to blow up the United States. How can they start over if the world comes to an end? Teddy finds his life filled with talk of bomb shelters, a cat and dog that don't get along, clinging 2-year-old twins, and a pretty girl he's too shy to talk to. Teddy, Melvin, Skeeter, and Bobby convert an old cave into a bomb shelter, and Teddy makes wishes from shooting stars. Will he and his friends be able to cope with their fears, and will Teddy be able to overcome his grief from the loss of his dad? Chapter 1. I survived the long drive from Cleveland. Now, if I could just survive the Russians, I'd be okay. Some people worried they were going to blow up the United States. Mom and I had come back to West Virginia to start over. How could we start over if the world was coming to an end? Mom turned off the ignition, and the car lurched and hiccuped. Our old Chevy needed help almost as much as I did. A mechanic could repair an engine and have it running right in no time, but a mechanic couldn't fix a 12-year-old boy's ailment. Dad died 6 months ago, and I missed him so much. I grabbed hold of the dangling, broken car handle. It scraped against the surface when I opened the door. My legs stuck to the car's vinyl upholstery. I squirmed, loosened the grip of the sweaty seat, and stepped out into the muggy evening air. My long legs, stiff from sitting for so long, buckled. I fell against our car and slid down the fender onto the gravel. Mom frowned. "Teddy, are you all right?" She pushed back her damp hair from her forehead. "I'm fine." I stood and dusted off the back of my shorts. She exited the car and stretched her weary body. Lightning bugs surrounded us and turned on their little taillights at the same time. They lit up the dark sky like sparklers on Independence Day. Our boring trip ended with an exploding display of yellow, green, and orange. A screen door squeaked. My aunt and uncle and their 2-year-old twins, Calvin and Chester, spilled out onto the porch. Their dog, Mamie, bombarded me with sloppy kisses. Eleanor, my travel-weary cat, jumped out the car window and pounced on the grass alongside their dog. Hiss! Her back arched, fur standing on end, ready to attack. After all the commotion died down, I grabbed my suitcase and box of stuff. I followed Aunt Dolly into the room where I was to sleep. Oh, shoot. I had to share a bedroom with the twins. At least they weren't in diapers, and there weren't any bunnies painted on the wall. They jumped up and down on the one large bed as I unpacked and put my things into 2 drawers. Aunt Dolly had cleared out for me. The last and most important items I put away were a picture of Dad and me fishing, my worry stone, and a crumpled list. A big drugstore calendar hung from a long skinny nail. I circled the date, August 24th, 1962. Okay, Theodore Ulysses Haynes, today is the first day of the rest of your life. Try not to mess it up. I wish I could turn back the pages of the calendar. When we moved to Cleveland 3 years ago from Haynes Branch, which was just another holler surrounded by hills a few miles from here, Dad and I had written down all the stuff he was going to teach me how to do. Our only adventures marked off the list were fishing and basketball. It was all crinkled and worn, but I treasured that wrinkled paper. It was my little piece of Dad. Whenever I missed him, I got out the list and read his promises. Maybe Mom could teach me some of the stuff we'd written down, but I doubt if she cared to teach me how to spit or hunt. Those were man things. Except for the singing of the insects that drifted in through the open window, silence filled the room. I turned to see the twins collapsed under the bedsheet. "Too much excitement for one evening," said Aunt Dolly, as she kissed them on the forehead. "They're worn out. They'll sleep till the sun comes up. Maybe later if we're lucky." She left and Mom tiptoed in to tell me good night. She held my hand and whispered, "It's going to be okay. This is the best place for us to be right now. My dad used to tell me, hang your dreams on a star and you'll go far. Look out the window at all those stars. Have you ever in your life seen so many?" I stared up at her and then at the stars. It looked like all the lightning bugs had been shot into space and emptied into the night sky. The heavens may have been filled with twinkling lights, but there were no stars in Mom's eyes, only sadness. I'd travel anywhere with Mom, even up this old dirt road if it brought back the shine in her eyes. I needed to be somewhere else, too. The big city of Cleveland held too many sad memories. Mom found a job pretty quick in the newspaper office. That left me alone at the house with Aunt Dolly and her twins, who had more energy than Mexican jumping beans. Uncle Henry worked shift work and slept most of the day. Aunt Dolly did all the cooking, so I helped with Calvin and Chester. I didn't mind, but my idea of a fun day wasn't having two toddlers following me around every minute like puppy dogs nipping at my feet. Mom's baby sister didn't look a bit like Mom on the outside, except for the dimples in their cheeks. But on the inside they were the same, the nicest aunt and mom a boy could ask for. One day after Aunt Dolly put the boys down for their nap, she took me aside and said, "A person can only grieve for so long. You're too much like your dad to just sit around and mope all the time. He wouldn't like that. He's up there looking down, just itching to give you a shove. But he can't, so I will. Now go outside and get some sunshine. Winter will be here soon, and a gray sky, icy potholes, and knee-deep snow is all you'll be seeing." She nudged me out onto the front porch. The rickety screen door got loose and slammed behind me. My cat, Eleanor, yowled when it caught her tail. She bolted off the porch and scrambled up the trunk of the tall sycamore growing along the creek bank. I ran after her. Feet shuffling behind me drew my attention away from rescuing my furry friend. "Hey, Teddy, wait up," a voice said. "You sure do have long legs. You're going to have to slow down if I'm to catch up to you." I slowed and glanced over my shoulder. A neighborhood boy walked toward me with a limp. I had seen him out and about a few times. He lived a couple houses up the road. Puffs of dust trailed behind his scuffed shoes. "My name's Melvin." He grinned and waved his arm. "Where you going to so all-powerful fast?" I stopped walking and stared at this curious kid. How did he know who I was? "Where you going?" he repeated. "Nowhere. Wasn't anywhere to go around here except maybe up the tree with my cat, and I didn't like to climb trees, but I wasn't about to let him know that." "Mind if I walk along with you?" "Nope, I don't mind." I stared up at Eleanor clinging onto a branch high up in the sycamore. She'd be all right. I think her pride hurt more than her tail. Excuse me. She wouldn't be coming down any time soon. I took off down the road with a stranger, something I would never have done in Cleveland. I shoved my right hand into my pants pocket and rubbed my worry stone. "How'd you know my name? You got ESP or something?" "ESP? Heck no, Mom told me." His grin curved around his face, pushing his freckles into one big clump. You could drive a coal truck through the big gap between his front teeth. He blended right into the landscape. His hair matched the dusty color of the dirt road and the haze of the late August sky. If it wasn't for his bright plaid shirt, you'd miss seeing him altogether. He had a unique voice, a tart voice that reminded me of green apples not quite ready to pick. "Welcome to the holler." He cleared his throat and rubbed his shoes into the dust on the road. "I'm real sorry about your dad dying." "Thanks," I muttered. Words sure travel fast around here. I wondered what else he knew about me. He straightened up and looked into my eyes. "Well, anyways, classes begin in a few days. I'd hate for you to start school in a new place and not know anybody. I figured we could hang out together. Everybody needs a friend. I'll be in the 7th grade. How about you?" "Me too." Melvin nodded. "Thought so. You got a transistor?" "Nope, I lost it." I lowered my head, stared down at my new shoes, and avoided eye contact. Dad had given me a transistor on my last birthday, and I missed it something fierce. I lost it when we moved. I searched in all my stuff. I rummaged through my socks and pushed my hands into the toes of my winter boots, even though the thought of spiders hidden in dark spaces scared me. I looked every place it shouldn't have been and every place it should. The music kept me company and helped pass the time. I was going to quit looking until I found it. I figured the twins snatched it and hid it somewhere. "That's okay, I've got one," said Melvin. He pulled out a little black radio from his shirt pocket and twirled the volume wheel. Loud music burst forth from the tiny speakers. "I can't dance much. Mom says I sound like a coyote crying in the woods when I try to sing. But I sure like rock and roll. How about you?" He took a gulp from his bottle of Pepsi. "Sure," I said. "I listened to it on our front porch in Cleveland. Mom didn't mind, just so it wasn't turned up too loud." We walked down the holler to nowhere in particular. I didn't talk much unless someone asked me a direct question. Our walk would have been awfully quiet if it weren't for Melvin, but he never stopped talking long enough for me to worry about coming back with a remark. We reached a wide spot in the road. It seemed like as good a place as any to turn around and start back, so we did. A coal truck rumbled past us, covering our clothes in a cloud of gray dust. I listened to the music while Melvin told me everything about everybody. He sure liked to talk and talk. Listening to him was better than listening in on the telephone party line. I didn't know if I would ever need to know a trapper by the name of Tupper was the first white man to set foot in this area of the world, or that Mrs. Taylor bragged she actually shook John F. Kennedy's hand during his campaign for president. But my brain soaked in every word. He talked so much that I got full up inside and thought I'd explode. At least he never asked me a lot of dumb questions, and he didn't make fun of the way I talked. In fact, he talked exactly like me, except he used big words a lot. His voice had that little twang I never lost, even after living in Cleveland for 3 years. He called Pepsi Cola pop, and he dropped salted peanuts in the bottle, just like I did. "Have a drink," he said. Mom told me I shouldn't drink after people unless they were family, but I couldn't resist. My dry throat screamed for something wet. "Thanks." I gulped a drink of Pepsi, capturing the salty peanut in my throat. I sucked in deeply and tried to catch my breath, but there it came, a big fat cough. I gasped and coughed again. Stinging pop squirted out my nose. The next thing I knew, Melvin was pounding my back. Oh, shoot. How'd I manage to get choked on a peanut? Bet my face was redder than the planet Mars. I should have listened to Mom. "Are you all right, Teddy?" I bent over, sucked in hard, and held my breath. The peanut hadn't budged, making itself at home in my throat. My whole life flashed before me, and it didn't take long. Geez, I couldn't die now. I hadn't even kissed a girl yet. Who am I kidding? I hadn't even wanted to kiss a girl yet. "Teddy, you're turning blue." Melvin slapped my back again. "Are you okay?" The peanut shot out like a rocket shooting toward the moon. I just about fell over. Melvin's strong arms saved me. I breathed in deeply and stood, wiping my face on my sleeve. "Yeah, I'm fine," I managed to choke out. "Thanks, Melvin. I was a goner for sure." The urge to cough hit me again, but I held it back. Thank goodness we were almost to Aunt Dolly's house. I could go inside and hole up in my room all alone. Well, not all alone. I'm sure the Trends would find me. But Melvin followed me through our front gate. He stuck to me like fly to flypaper. That's Chapter 1 of Duck and Cover. I hope you enjoyed it.